Hey y'all, I'm back and we have an amazing expansion of the WoW universe taking place. We have stuff in Las Vegas, we have championship wins and injuries, and a tag team trying to work their way back up to the top. This is Steph and Kat Talk WoW.
Yeah, yeah. Making her way to the mic. They start dimming the lights. You start feeling alright. From Birmingham, home of the Teddy Longs and the Ruben Studders. More once you discover. For all of the lovers, Whitney Houston and Roman Reigns. For all of the lovers, and Mickey James and Marvin Gaye. For all of the lovers, and Sasha Banks, Janelle Monáe, Silk, Sonic, and Paige. Allow me to say, look, I just found a place, sweet escape. Every one of us, I was kinda late, so I just made it off the struggle bus. Walking by the fate, cause I know it's right in front of us. Yo, I ain't with the hate, gotta focus on what's
Hey y'all, and welcome to a double dose episode of Steph and Cat Talk Wow, brought to you by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and In Cat We Trust. Of course, I'm your girl Stephanie Hardy, host and creator of HWP Extra, and co-creator and host of this fabulous show where we talk about the ins and outs of women of wrestling, wow, superheroes. And my tag team partner Katrina couldn't be with me tonight because she is in New York recovering from the crazy amount of storms that they've been having on today. They were under a flood warning and all of the crazy things. So we're sending good vibes and blessings to those people up there that are affected by that, especially on this busy weekend, which is SummerSlam weekend. I'm definitely sending all types of healing vibes towards them because storms are nothing to play with. And I just hope that everybody still has everything that they need, including Katrina, my girl. And hopefully, of course, in the next episode, we'll be back together. But thank you for watching me. And of course, if you want to watch this later, you can watch it on both of our YouTube channels, In Cat We Trust and The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, which is now going strong at 503 subscribers. So thank you guys so much because the WoW fandom, I'm more than sure, is also a part of that growth. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So before we get into these past two episodes, which were titled Picket Line Payback and Gold Standard, we have some announcements to make on behalf of WoW because they've had in their um, news cycle. So in WoW news, WoW is officially having their tryouts and they're having them in Tampa, Florida. They made the announcement on their social media saying that they will be having tryouts for the very first time outside of Los Angeles in Tampa, Florida. They posted this picture and the link to it to sign up for the tryouts, and I believe this is only for athletes. So if you know someone in your life who is a fabulous women's wrestler who wants the chance to try out to be a part of this amazing team of wrestlers and amazing promotion on television, then please point them in the direction of WoW Superheroes and their social media team and find the link for them with this picture so they can sign up for the Tampa, Florida tryouts. So please, we want every woman in wrestling who wants this opportunity to try out for them to have it. So I just wanted to talk about it and discuss it on here. It's absolutely amazing. I low key want to try out, but I want to try out to be one of their commentators or try out to be like a backstage correspondent with Sibley. That would be really great. But I feel like this is mostly for the athletes. So if you are a women's wrestler looking to shake the table with your iconic life and iconic talent, then go try out for WoW. Please go try out for WoW. So that was a nice announcement to get. Then on top of that, they had more stuff going on in the news with them making an appearance at San Diego Comic-Con, which we did talk about a bit on the last show. They made their appearance with their panel about women's wrestling and women in sports with Sibley Skulls, Jeannie Buss, their co-owner, and of course, part owner of the Los Angeles Lakers, and David McClain, alongside Santana Garrett, Miami Sweet Heat, the Carlson Twins, and Paola Mayfield. And in their panel, they finally announced that WoW Superheroes will be renewed for a fourth season, which is absolutely fantastic news on our end because we never get tired of talking about the show, talking about the women, getting it on in the ring for this hour of power, as David likes to say. And we just love these women so, so, so much and the love that they've given us for talking about them. So we were so happy to see that they are getting renewed. Then on top of that, they made the announcement that their few episodes are going to be emanating from Fremont Street in Las Vegas because, of course, last year they had a number of tapings on Fremont Street. Of course, we don't know if this means that they'll be having the very same tapings this year. I'm not entirely sure, but either way, this was such a great announcement. And in this picture, you see Genesis pointing to Fremont Street, which they say is sort of like the old school Vegas, in comparison to like the large, um, giant strip that you see a lot of the time when you see Las Vegas portrayed in the media. So this is what they've got going on. They were in residency in Vegas and their show has been renewed for season 4. So this was an amazing announcement. I was so happy to see them get interviewed by Variety and hopefully they'll be posting that pretty soon. So yeah, a lot of great stuff is happening and wow, they even had an interaction with a WNBA player who kind of gave a little bit of interest in possibly being a WoW superhero. So maybe she'll be at a tryout. You never know. But either way, WoW is growing and expanding more and more, and you love to see it, as it being the only all female um promotion on television, and we just love to see shows like this, get more of a following more and more each time. So big ups to Team Wow, big ups to us, because of course now that they've been renewed, that means that me and Kat get to talk about Wow more and more each year. So yay, 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 that was so great to hear. So now moving out of WoW news, we move into talking about the episode, of course, which was Picket Line Payback, which aired on July the 19th and the 20th. And it started with the Alliance making an entrance. And of course, Adriana Gambino had a lot to say, stating, well, it sounds like everyone's really excited to see the Alliance, and we're absolutely thrilled to be here. And I know everyone's excited for this main event match between Tormenta and the Classmaster. But if I'm being honest, and I'm always honest, not really, but okay, it doesn't really matter who wins because next title match goes to my muscle, Reina Del Rey. And she will finally bring gold home to the Alliance. No matter who her opponent is, we call first dibs. So, of course, this will go on to um, happen in the next episode, but we'll get into what happened in that title match later on. So, after that, they showed a recap of the fight of the Fatal Four Way number one contenders match for the Wild World Championship that Tormenta wound up winning against Princess Aussie Genesis and Paola Mayfield, which leads into the main event between her and the Classmaster for the Wild World title. And it was a very affectionate affair with this episode because you can see that they were talking about the journey of Tormenta as well as talking about, how many times she had had an opportunity and how this was a huge opportunity for her. And also with Sophia Lopez, the world's greatest attorney, wishing her good luck in that regard as well. It was very heartfelt. So as we move closer and closer to the main event, we'll talk a bit more about it. But of course, we had other matches to get to in the form of Genesis. Everything's not about you, girl. Um, this isn't about you right now. Sylvia Sanchez versus new WoW superhero Gabriela Cruz. So, of course, Gabriela started the match with her Brazilian jiu jitsu movements, but Sylvia pushed away a lockup attempt that Gabriela had for her. They both eventually locked up, and then they both traded arm twists and rolled out to escape each hold. It was sort of like a battle of which one could submit the person first when it came to their arm locks and everything. Gabby reversed Sylvia's arm locks and judo throws her into the mat. Sylvia then tripped up Gabriella and kicked and smacked her in the face. Then Gabby blocked a strike and climbed the ropes for an arm drag. And then Sylvia actually had a lot of Gabby's moves scouted throughout this match, and then actually they traded rolling pins with each other to a two count. Like both of these women really had each other's numbers throughout the match. And Gabby even gave a flying knee and a head scissors to get the upper hand, um, as well as a sunset flip into a pin. But Sylvia wound up winning the match by hitting an Alabama slam for a three count. Now, of course, I love that Alabama slam because I'm from Alabama and I'm just really partial to stuff like that. So Sylvia Sanchez wound up winning the match with that. And it kind of bummed me out because the last time we saw Gabriella Cruz, she wound up, I believe, losing her debut match. So the idea that now she's losing again just kind of bummed me out. But this match was very entertaining. It was very they were very well versed in their type of fighting in terms of like a mixture of lucha and a mixture of jujitsu and judo as well. It was a really great match, but Sylvia Sanchez, the lone bandita, wound up winning. So there's that. Then we move into the tag team division with Scout Parker reuniting with Sprout Greens as the environmentalists going up against Big Rigs and Bourbon. Now, this match happened due to the environmentalists attacking Betty and Jesse Jones with their picket signs and hitting them across, their faces and arms and everything. And Big Rig Betty and Jesse Jones just wanted to get their lick back. So that's what happened in this match. The match started before the bell even rang because, of course, Betty and Jesse were ready to just brawl and get the fight going. They started fighting and then they knocked down Sprout Greens with the changing lanes. Scout and Sprout then isolated Big Rig Betty and pretty much beat on her within their corner rather. Then Scout hit a double knees and then a split pin from Sprout. Sprout Greens was very impressive in her athleticism in this match. But of course, Jesse Jones, being the veteran tag team worker, would break up any moment, any type of momentum that they had with a pin attempt. Then Big Rig Betty pulled um both of the girls together and ran them into each other to get the upper hand and tag Jesse Jones. And Jesse Jones proceeded to stomp out Sprout Greens and then gave her the kiss my grits. Then Betty pulled Scout off of the apron, and then Big Rig Betty kicked Sprout for the 1, 2, 3, and they wound up winning. But then as they were celebrating, Sprout Greens and Scout Parker actually stole the wooden stick that we see Jesse Jones come out with a lot of the time. And thankfully, Nigel Zane told us the significance of that wooden stick. He said that Jesse's wooden stick was given to her by Tracy Smothers, who, if you may or may not know, was a wrestling OG who trained Jesse Jones, who passed away a couple of years back. And that stick means a lot to her. So, with them stealing it from her, they proceeded to chase them out of the ring and chase them backstage and all of the above. So hopefully we'll see what happened with that a little bit later. But it was crazy to kind of see them run after each other like that, even after that high energy of a match. So that's where we are with the environmentalists and Big Rigs and Bourbon. Don't touch my stuff, okay? Like that's the stuff that I just can't stand when folks just touch your stuff unnecessarily. Like, what purpose do you have touching my things? What? Like, why are you doing it? So, after that match, we go backstage with Sibley Skulls, who interviews Animal Instinct. And they talk about how they don't intend to lose to the Mighty Mites. And they basically said that the Mighty Mites might fly, but they hunt. And then Katarina, in a very weird sort of way, sort of like in a cat like sort of way, kept smelling Sibley. And I was just like, girl, why are you invading her privacy like that? Like, get away from her. But Katarina definitely brings on the cat-like energy, and she was just sniffing and sort of picking at Sibley's hair and all of that. And I was just like, "Oh my God, this is weird." Um, but of course, this interview led into match number 3, which was Animal Instinct going up against the Mighty Mites, Sugar and Spice. And like I say all the time, Sugar and Spice are like one of my favorite tag teams that I've seen on WoW, and I just want to see them succeed more and more. Sugar and Spice ran in ready for action, and they snatched their capes off and just went to the business of beating on Animal Instinct and the Mighty Mites. They were going all kinds of ham in this match. um, Goldie and Sugar started off the match. Goldie slammed Sugar down on the mat, but then Sugar tried to trip up Goldie Collins, but then she blocked it. Then Goldie went for a stomp, and then Sugar blocked it. Both of these women really had each other's numbers. And then she hit a kick flip to Goldie. And then Goldie went and tagged Katarina, who ran into an arm drag series from Sugar. But then in the midst of it, Katarina wound up catching Sugar in midair, and then Sugar caught Katarina in an arm drag and then tagged in Spice. And then Sugar and Spice both gave a double leg lock to Katarina, but then she broke up the count with the rope because it was looking kind of close. Like maybe she could have tapped out then, but she didn't. Spice then gave a series of knees to Katarina, and then Katarina slammed Spice on her back and then kicked her again with that sort of like a whip kick you kind of see. I know that's not the name of it, but either way, that's what happened there. And then Katarina and Goldie gave a double vertical suplex to Spice, and then Sugar broke up the count. Then Goldie gave Spice a dog sitter, and then Katarina gave the cat scratch in order to gain the upper hand over her. Then Spice speared Katarina and then tagged in Sugar, who gave forearm shots. And then Goldie gave a spine buster and then dragged Katarina back into the ring. But Sugar gave basically like a flying slam or like a splash into Goldie, and well, no, not into Goldie, into Katarina for a 3 count, and the Mighty Mites wound up winning. And it's so interesting because this sort of started a trajectory that I wasn't expecting from Animal Instinct since they'd gotten back together, because of course they were separated a bit with their singles action, but then at the same time I was just like, bruh, like, okay, what's going to happen when they get back together? Are they going to be on the same page? And I feel like this was low key the start of them not being on that same page. But we'll talk a bit more about it as this episode of Steph and Cat Talk Wow goes on. So yeah, the Mighty Mites wound up winning this match, and I was really pumped about that. So hopefully this can lead to something better for them. This could lead to them having a chance at the tag titles. I don't know, but I'm really pumped to see what that means for them. So as we continue to move into talking about the main event, we did see Sophia Lopez, like I mentioned earlier, having that sentimental moment along with Tormenta as she prepared for her championship match, and she told her how proud she was of all of her hard work and how she was happy to have witnessed her rise throughout throughout everything she had been through and stuff. And it was just really really sweet to see that they had that moment, because of course when me and Katrina started covering WoW, it was Sophia Lopez and Tormenta like all of the time. And to see how far Tormenta had come was just really, to see how far she has come at this point was just really good. And then on top of that, her having that moment at Worlds Collide with AAA as well, it was just perfect timing for it. Then after that moment, we had Paola Mayfield claiming that she um has next in terms of whoever is going to be the WoW World Champion after tonight. And she was talking about how other people depend on luck, but she depends on herself being a GOAT. So, because of that, regardless to who wins the match, she will be the next champion. And this kind of irritated me because at one point she pretended like she was injured from Tormenta and that meteora that she gave her in that contenders match, but then the next minute she wants to act like, oh well, I'm next in line because I'm the goat and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, Paola, you've been fiending for a chance at the WoW World title since you got there, on the sole strength of you being like a reality show star. And it's a bit annoying because, ma'am, like, you need to start winning matches. You need to start putting in that work. You can't just be out here just thinking that you're just going to get all these opportunities based off of your name and based off of your fame. That's not how any of this works. But of course, Paola has to just put herself out there in all things because she just thinks she's just it. So I don't know. So in the meantime, we finally get to the main event, which was the Classmaster, the Wild World Champion, going up against Tormenta. And when I tell you, I was excited to see this match, but also kind of scared at the same time because Samantha Smart and the Classmaster, they just come up with all kinds of different strategies and different underhanded tactics to try to get what they want all the time. So the idea of them winning this match by hook or by crook, that really put some fear into my heart because I'm just like, man, I want Tormenta to have a fair shot. She's that good enough for a fair shot. And even at the start of the match, Samantha Smart was already in here with the shenanigans. Right when Tormenta and Classmaster had that lockup and they had pushed each other and everything, Samantha literally climbed up on the apron and hit Tormenta with her yardstick. And this just pissed me off because I was just like, Samantha, you're doing too much already. Like, stop it. And so the Classmaster, of course, took advantage of this by hitting a suplex and stomping on Tormenta and giving her shoulder thrust and a Boston Crab. And then the Classmaster then kicked and gave a sleeper hold to Tormenta, but Tormenta, of course, fought out of it. Then the Classmaster threw Tormenta out of the ring and kicked her down and tossed her into the ring post, and then gave her another suplex on the ramp. This fight was all over. It wasn't even just in the ring. It was in the ring, outside of the ring, on the entrance ramp, and all of the above. They were fighting everywhere. But then Tormenta finally got back into the ring and still ran into a slam and a throw from the Classmaster, but then she finally started fighting back with kicks and an uppercut and a seated drop kick. And then Samantha here again, trying to interfere, but in the midst of that, Tormenta still didn't give up. Tormenta then rolled up and double stomped the Classmaster's stomach and then swung the Classmaster's leg for a 2 count. And then the Classmaster motioned for Samantha Smart to give her the book that she's always carrying to try to use to cheat. But then Tormenta hit her flying dropkick from the top rope, and the book flew out of the Classmaster's hands. And she wound up getting the 1, 2, 3 and became the brand new WoW World Champion. Tormenta, Chica Tormenta, is the WoW World Champion. This excited the crap out of me when I saw it because, like I said, she works so hard. And ever since me and Katrina started covering WoW, Tormenta was just one of our favorites. And just seeing her scrape and fight for so many opportunities, whether it be for this title or the tag team titles, was just always, or even the trios titles at one point, it was always like almost close, but just to no avail. And it's just, oh my God, to see her finally defeat someone who had just been a dominant champion, yes, but also playing it dirty. It just felt so good to see someone like her get a victory like this. It just felt so good to see a good guy like Tormenta get the upper hand and win. It was so enthralling for me. I appreciated this so much. And then you can definitely tell it was emotional for her. She was crying. She was talking about on social media, what it meant to her in terms of representation, of being the first Mexican born Wild World Champion. Like, this is the kind of stuff that just makes you believe in wrestling and just believe in the hope of life because people work their entire lives to be world champions. And now she gets to be the face of an all female brand by being the world champion of WoW. And I just love that for her. I love that for her so much. So, congratulations to you, Tormenta. I am so happy. You got all the confetti and everything. I just love the way that they celebrate their new champions with the confetti and everything. It was just so beautiful. So that was how Picket Line Payback ended. Now, Gold Standard didn't necessarily end as hopeful as this episode ended, but I will say that it was still a solid episode. So, Gold Standard aired on July 26th and 27th, and also on Vice TV probably Tuesday if you saw it then. Of course, they showed a recap of Tormenta and her journey towards the WoW World Championship, and it showed her winning. And the show itself, the episode started with Tormenta cutting a promo and making her entrance. And of course, she said in her native language in Spanish, I am proud to be the new champion of WoW because we Mexicans are strong and brave and we never give up. Yes, I promise for you, my Latinos, for you, my Mexicans, that no, you will not defeat me so easily. So, in the midst of her, giving this amazing promo, inspiring people who look like her, power to the Latino people because y'all are amazing and y'all deserve the world. Samantha Smart comes out there and interrupts with the class master. And I'm just like, girl, you lost fair and square. Why are you out here? Why are you out here? And she said, all right, that's enough. Get Tormenta out of my ring. This celebration is a farce. The class master is still the Wild World Champion. And Nigel Zane, being shady, said, it doesn't look like it. And I was like, that was funny. And then Samantha was like, is that ref blind? Should we start a GoFundMe for his vision? Because he clearly saw that book. Basically, she was trying to accuse Tormenta of cheating with the book, but the whole time Classmaster had the book in her hand. So I don't know what she was doing. And then David was like, look, it was you who brought the book out here and then took it off the table. Who knows even what's inside of that thing? You sat the book on the table and then grabbed it and slid it into the ring for the Classmaster to use in the match against Tormenta. And then Samantha, here again, trying to be so smart, but yet sounding so dumb, made it seem like, okay, she was like, first of all, this book is filled with knowledge. And something about knowledge is that it includes rules. And one of the rules in WoW is that that would be a disqualification. And then David was like, look, I know what the rules are. You're not going to come in here and tell me what to do. Like, I know what's happening, and Tormenta is the champion, and you just gonna have to deal with it. Samantha was throwing a temper tantrum, and it just wasn't clocking. It just wasn't clocking to Samantha that David was standing on business. It wasn't clocking to her. But either way, Tormenta continued to celebrate after that. And that was pretty much it. But of course, they did big up the fact that Tormenta was in the main event with a title match because she wanted to be a fighting champion against Reina Del Rey, who mentioned in the first episode that we just covered that she wanted to have a chance at the title. So Tormenta did that and proved that she was a fighting champion. So moving into the matches that took place, the first match that took place in this episode was Vicious Veronica Varum V3 versus Chainsaw with Daisy Lane. Um, Something that happened in this match was the fact that I left this match wondering, how do I get a hold to V3's jacket? Because Vicious Veronica Varum's jacket was really cute, and I want it. I know they don't really like sell jackets like that from the talent, but if that was ever to go up for auction, I would get it because it was really cute. But anyway, V3 actually put up a little bit of a fight up against the imposing Chainsaw. She ducked out of Chainsaw's way and then rained down punches on her. Of course, it didn't really affect Chainsaw that much. Chainsaw then clotheslined Veronica after pulling on the ropes and then gave a leg drop. Then Chainsaw that gave a leg choke and then pulled on Veronica's nose in the midst of it. But then V3 moved away from the splash in the ring corner and then gave a shoulder tackle to Chainsaw. And in the midst of this, Chainsaw proceeded to also beat down on V3. And then she got pushed down after her DDT attempt. Then V3 failed to execute a crucifix pin. That's what we're seeing in this picture right here. And then Chainsaw scratched V3 on her belly and then tossed her by her hair. And Chainsaw gave a body slam to Veronica, who then attacked Daisy on the apron, which is something you don't ever want to do. You never want to attack Daisy Lane um in the presence of Chainsaw because she will come find you because that's her sister and she will dog walk you. So in the midst of attacking her, Daisy tripped up Veronica Varoom and Chainsaw gave a choke slam to end the match. So Chainsaw won, and then Daisy gave her graveyard slam, which of course Chainsaw assisted with, and they're just going to proceed to, give all kinds of heck to the WoW locker room as it stands now. It was good to see V3 out here fighting in a match like this, but up against Chainsaw, it's really hard to get the upper hand because she's just a dominant woman and just so scary. And then now she's been even scarier since she's been aligned with Daisy Lane. So who even knows what's even going to happen with that? Um, I don't know. It's just kind of hard for me to try to pinpoint the trajectory of V3, considering she's fairly new, but at the same time, there's a part of me that still wants to see something more from her because she just has so much attitude. She has a lot of attitude mixed in with her athletic background. So hopefully we'll see more of her this season as the season goes on before the new season starts. But Chainsaw and Daisy Lane are just a match made in heaven or hell or purgatory, whatever you prefer. So yeah, they're just gonna continue to raise hell. So that's it. Then backstage, we had another interview with Sibley with Animal Instinct again. And Katarina sort of led the charge in this interview, saying that her and Goldie have differing mindsets and that that was going to help them get the victory over Miami Sweet Heat so that they could have a chance at the Wild Tag Team titles, of course, being held by Holly Swag and Penelope Pink. And Katarina said that Lindsay and Lori have a sick sense because they share everything as twins. Now, mind you, sisters might share a lot of things, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get sick from it. So, I mean, hey, I guess that was just her way of just trying to throw shade at the fact that they were twins. But either way, you can't beat the twin magic. And they found out the hard way because, of course, this led into their tag team match for the number one contendership for the Wild Tag Team titles. Um, Lindsay and Lori have a huge bone to pick because the last time we saw them fighting for the Wild World Tag Team Championships, it was in a hardcore match and they wound up getting speared through the tables and the match came to a no contest, and they definitely have an axe to grind when it comes to those ladies in the Fab 3 now, I guess you could say. And yeah, they were willing to run through Animal Instinct in order to get to that. So Lindsay and Katarina wound up starting the match in order to trade holds. Lindsay and Lori used their chemistry and experience to knock down Katarina Jinx. They also elbow dropped and hip tossed Goldie, but then Katarina and Goldie got scrappy and crafty with a kick and a side effect for a 2 count. Then Katarina knocked Lori off of the apron, and then Katarina and Goldie gave a double suplex to Lindsay, but then Lori broke up the count after finally getting on her feet. Then Lindsay got isolated and beat up by Katarina and Goldie, and then Katarina gave a kick and a boot to the throat to try to choke her out. And then Lindsay got locked into an octopus hold, which reminded me a lot of AJ Mendez. And I was just like, oh my God, AJ, you live forever. Um, you icon. And then Lindsay tagged Lori, who gave a kick and a seated drop kick to Goldie and Katarina Jinx. And then Lindsay knocked Goldie out of the ring, and Lori hit the Fab Jab in order to win the match and become the number one contenders for those Wild Tag Team titles. But before they were even able to celebrate, they got attacked by Holly Swag and Penelope Pink, who came out there to prove a point, as if to say, yo, you aren't going to have the upper hand no matter what type of victories you get. They just came out there fighting and they were fighting them on the ramp and everything, and it was just a brawl at that point. And when they came back from commercial, they showed a replay of the brawl and showed Holly and Penelope backstage, and they talked about how they were so fired up that they wanted to just continue fighting them. But Lana told them to chill out and drink some champagne so they can figure out what's next for their tag team titles, which can only mean evil intentions. It's evil intentions, bro. But at this point, I'm just ready for Miami Sweet Heat to get those tag titles back and take off the pink and black, please. If you're not aligned with Lana Star and them, take off the pink and black, put the Miami colors back on, and go back to what you know in order to get back what's yours. Please do that. And like earlier, I just feel like Animal Instinct is not operating on all cylinders like they used to since they had that break. So I'm wondering if they can actually like get it together or if at some point this might lead to some dissension. I don't want it to necessarily happen because I do like them as a tag team, but I also like them in singles work too, so I'm not entirely sure. But either way, that's what happened there. Then we go backstage and see Reina Del Rey vowing to defeat Tormenta and bring glory and gold to the alliance that they had never seen before. And then we also heard from Paola Mayfield, who wanted to talk smack at Tormenta again, and claimed that Tormenta was just trying to hide from her, and vowed to become Tormenta's worst nightmare, and that she's ready to fight whoever wins the title tonight. And what's so interesting is that she did mention that if she did fight Tormenta, it would be like Mexico versus Colombia. And I'm pretty sure in history there was some type of battle or some type of war between those two, but I don't want to speak on that because here again, that's outside of my heritage. I don't want to do that. But I did find that interesting that she brought that up. I was like, huh, Mexico and Colombia with a conflict. I just never really learned about that. So I guess at some point I'm just gonna have to Google it, huh? But hey, Paola taught me something. Go figure. So they made the announcement that this coming weekend that we will see the return of another favorite superhero, Americana. Americana is coming back and she will be fighting Scout Parker. And this was so refreshing to hear because really for a good portion of the season she had been gone. So I'm really glad to see that she will be back. Even though I did enjoy Santana Garrett getting her singles work on, it will be great to see Americana come back as well. So we move into our main event for this episode, which was Reina Del Rey versus Tormenta for the WoW World Championship. Tormenta was out here to prove that she was a fighting champion and that she will take on anybody that wants to take the title from her. And Reina came out there with her alliance buddies, BK Rhythm, Gigi Gianni, and Adriana Gambino on commentary. Reina shoved Tormenta to start the match, but then they traded shots back and forth. Um, they missed each other's shots in the corner, and then BK actually interfered in the match a bit and held down Tormenta's foot so Reina could splash her in the corner of the ring. And the ref saw it, and he gave BK a warning, like, "Look, you need to stay away from her, or else I will have you ejected." Um, and Reina gave a knee to Tormenta's shoulder and then kicks to the back for a 2 count. Then Reina Del Rey continued to club the back of Tormenta, but she missed a kick, and then Tormenta knocked her down and gave her a basement drop kick to gain the upper hand. Tormenta then attempted a baseball slide kick, but then she got caught, and then Reina beat on her outside of on the ring apron, and then drove and did the drive-by knee shot into the chest, and then kicked her back outside of the ring, and then Reina Del Rey hit a DDT for a 2 count. But then the ref here again caught Gigi holding Tormenta's ankles, and then Tormenta hit this crazy backflip suicide dive onto all members of the alliance. It was sick. It was really sick. I was just like, oh my god, Tormenta, girl. She knows she can fly. I love it. And then she kicked BK and Gigi and clotheslined them both outside of the ring. And then Reina took advantage for a 2 count. But then Reina picked up Tormenta and gave her an electric chair and then a suplex. But as she landed on that suplex, she landed weird on her shoulder. And it was so bad that the match couldn't even continue. And Tormenta screamed out in pain. The referee asked her if she could continue, and she said no. And medical came to check on her. And the match was a no contest, and the medics came in, and it was just so sad. I was just looking for some type of miracle. I was low key even hoping that Tormenta was faking, because this can't be the way her title reign starts and ends. It just can't. Because I was so thrilled to see her finally get this opportunity and be a fighting champion. And now she's injured, and we don't know the state of the Wild World title as it stands now. And this just upset me really bad. I was just like, no, Tormenta. It just really made me sad. So she did state on social media that she is fighting to make a return, but just it just bummed me out. But oh my god, I hope she doesn't have to give up the title. But oh my god, I don't know. It just sucks. But I'm pretty sure at some point we will get some answers as to what this means for the Wild World Championship. But that's how Gold Standard ended. I appreciated that at the very least Tormenta was a fighting champion and was willing to fight all comers. Um, but I just hate that she got hurt. So, like I said, hopefully we'll get some answers there. And I hate to end it on a bad note like that, but that's just the truth of where we are when it comes to WoW superheroes, which brings us to the end of our show. So thank you guys so much for watching live. And of course, if you weren't able to watch live, know that you can watch it later on both me and Katrina's YouTube channels. That's In Cat We Trust and the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. Follow her on all of her social media platforms at In Cat We Trust with the E in we as a three. Please check her out and everything she's got going on. And of course, you can follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy. You can follow my show, The Hardy Wrestling Podcast, on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast and on Twitter at Hardy Wrestle Pod. Continue to share the clips as you see them, as I share them. For all of my shows, and also just continue to support the vibe as we continue to grow within the WoW universe and just within the wrestling universe as a whole. Also, book your girl if you want me to be at like your panel, or if you want me to be on commentary, or if you want me to be a ring announcer, or whatever the things. I'm willing to try them. Book your girl, DM me, and all the things, and we'll work it out. And also read my articles on Daily DDT. I'm working on some new stuff, so please be on the lookout for those. And just continue to support your girl. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We got to 500 subscribers. If you didn't hear me talk about that on my previous episode that I recorded and did live today with Bianca Addison. And let's just continue to grow. So thank you guys so much. And this has been Steph and Cat Talk Wow, brought to you by the Hardy Wrestling Podcast and In Cat We Trust. And until next time, bye y'all.